You have entered the analysis zone, a place where political correctness is non-existent. Critical thinking is required and conservative common sense reigns supreme. This is the Whitfield Analysis, and now, here is your host, Dan Whitfield.
It's wartime, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Whitfield Analysis on Next Gen Conservative Radio via Blog Talk Radio. This is the last show before the election. I am so glad that you could join me here tonight. I posted this on my public wall, on my friends' wall. I'm inviting both my friends who are liberal and conservative to call in. I really believe it is important that we all talk to each other on the show before the last. This is the last show on Next Gen Conservative before Tuesday and the election. So, with that in mind, the telephone number, if you call in, and please do, I'm expecting to have a couple callers with me for the entire show. The call number, if you want to call in, is 714-816-4740. And email me by going to theanalysisnow.wordpress.com and clicking on that Contact Sam button. Also, we have my friends over at YCTV, Young Conservative Television. Please support them there. I'm on the board, so aside from Next Gen Conservative, that is also one of my organizations. And please, we're looking for funds for both Young Conservative Television and Next Gen Conservative Radio and Television. So please contact us about that, and we would love to hear from you on that. So tonight's topic, as I said, is the election. And I don't really have any articles to relate to you, but I want to bring this closer to home. I know this is a little early for this, but I want to talk about the role of the conservative youth movement in this election and what we've done. And I want to go into a little bit more of my personal story too, if that's all right with the audience. So without further ado, folks, back in March of 2008, when I started this talk show, I had no idea it would take off the way it did and the way it has. This show, it's been amazing. If lots of you don't know, this show merely started off as an accident. Not necessarily an accident, but the way this show began was, I've always been a conservative. I found my conservative beliefs at a very young age when I was in middle school. And the media representation and what the teachers were teaching us. The media is controlled by the left, the hardcore left, and lots of the public schools. The curriculum is controlled by the left. And so, therefore, lots of my peers have grown up with more liberal opinions. I have always kind of been a rebel in that sense that I've been a conservative Um, and all of the rhetoric I would question my teachers on, and a lot of them didn't know how to respond. Um, and eventually, I just got so sick of being surrounded by um, the liberal uh, messages that my peers and I were listening to, and of course there's Rush Limbaugh and Glenn Beck and whatnot, but all those guys are more directed towards adults and the older audience. And at the time, me being an 8th grader, there really was no voice for the conservative teenager, for the young conservative. And I just got so fed up with it. Um, So I merely began the talk show as just an experiment. I was palling around with some audio, and I sent the first episode off to my mom, and she said it was really good, and she suggested that I record a couple more. And it's amazing. Because I was just playing the audio back and of the first episode I recorded ever of my talk show, and my voice was incredibly high. I hadn't hit puberty yet, I don't think. So it's funny if you ever get the chance to listen to it. Anyway, though, I think the conservative youth movement has had a great impact, and I've been talking at the election. This is Mission Critical. Tuesday is the final countdown. We're less than 2 days out. And right now I have a caller, a 303 area code, so from my hometown, and I don't know who this is, but let's bring them on and hear what they have to say about the election. Welcome.
I would just like to give my support for Mitt Romney today.
All right, and who is this?
This is Tom Torkelson calling from Greenwood Village, Colorado.
Oh, how are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing quite well. I'm actually just sitting here reading my paper, and someone told me about your fine talk show on here and said that I should go on and, said you had some pretty good points to make about the election, and interested to hear what you have to say about this election that's about to happen here on Tuesday.
Well, if you'll stick around me for the show, I'd be more than happy. First of all, you said you wanted to give a shout out for Mitt Romney. Why do you support Governor Romney?
No, actually, Barack Obama, sorry.
Oh, you support Obama?
Yeah, I'm a big Obama supporter.
Okay, why? I'm curious.
Because he's black. I mean, it would be racist not to.
Oh boy, if I had a nickel for every time I heard that, I'd be a millionaire.
You'd be a racist?
No, well, no, I'm not a racist. This whole okay, so the caller just hung up, folks. I'm expecting to get a lot of this throughout the show. People calling in. That's one of the issues that I want to bring up first of all. Well, hopefully Tom here is still listening to the program. Now, people have made a big deal about race in this country. I want to go back to 4 years ago, folks. Again, I started the show in middle school. And I started in March, so we were still under the Bush presidency. Now, admittedly, in 2008, we were in the middle of the worst financial crisis it was horrible, and people were starting to despair. And Barack Obama came around, and he gave everyone the idea of hope and change. And he played it in such a way that he it seemed very appealing on the front side. And him being an African American and being the first African American president, it seemed very people were very excited about the possibility of electing him. But, folks, hang on a sec. But, folks, people embraced the race thing a little too much. And I was called a racist multiple times because I didn't support Obama. It's not because I'm a racist. If you look at what he stands for bigger government, less individual responsibility. He believes that the government is the all-knowing, all-seeing entity that should take care of all of us. And that's not how I believe this country should run. It's not how it was intended by the Founding Fathers. But folks, this whole notion that I'm a racist, let me tell you, that was created by the left as a way to get the opposition on the conservative to shut up. Like I told the caller, if I had a nickel for as I was trying to tell that last caller, if I had a nickel for every time I was called a racist, I'd be a millionaire. Folks, I have never said one racist thing about anybody. Especially not about the President of the United States. I don't agree with him on hardly anything, but that does not make me a racist. That's what they've tried to paint. That's what the left has tried to paint the Tea Party as, and the conservative youth movement as, though, in the last 4 years, is a whole bunch of racist rednecks. As I said before, the telephone number if you want to call in is 714-816-4740. I would love to get more callers on here. So, folks, getting back to my personal take. So, when I first started my show, I thought that I was the only conservative teenager out there. And, let's see, is this the same guy who called in before? I don't know. Let's, take a look here. Hello?
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 Hello? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi, yes, can I just, say real quick that, whoever called in a little bit ago is just, that was just ridiculous. I'm sorry I had to endure that. That was absolutely ridiculous. That Obama supporter?
Yeah.
That came on here? Thought he was being funny. I just wanted to say that, you know, it's people like that give Democrats a bad name, and it's just a shame that they have to have supporters like that and ruin it. And I'm being a Republican myself. I just, feel absolute pity for people who do stuff like that.
Yeah, real quick, if I might have you on the line for a couple minutes.
Yeah.
First of all, can I have your first name?
Oh, it is John.
Okay. Is this Mr. Schweitzer by any chance?
No.
Okay. Personal friend of mine, didn't recognize the number. Why are you supporting Mitt Romney? Just out of curiosity.
Well, definitely because of his views towards the economy that Obama has definitely raised our debt trillions of dollars, and that we're just basically heading backwards almost, which seems like we're digressing instead of progressing.
Yeah, I mean his whole campaign slogan is supposed to be forwards, and yet we're not moving forwards. We're moving back.
Because we promised many things that just never came true. We're just absolutely ridiculous.
Now let me ask you this too, because as I was just explaining to the audience, it seems to me like the use of the term racist has been thrown around for the last 4 years by the left to get the opposition on the right to shut up. Have you? I'm assuming I'm not the only one who's been called a racist just because I don't support Obama. Have you had that happen to you at all?
Yes.
Okay. Why, in your opinion, first of all, can I just, how old are you, if I may ask?
I'm 24.
Okay. Sir, so do you think it's just the age? Do you think the age group affects? Because I'm just curious. Do you think the age group affects the politics of our generation?
Undoubtedly, because the young people don't realize they have to worry about these economic issues yet, and they're all about personal freedom. The only thing that almost matters to them. I think for the majority, that's.
Are you still?
And then you have older people who actually have to, worry about job and, maybe children or, taking care of their own business sometimes. Have to worry more about, and that's kind of just a general. I know it's a bit of a generalization on Democrats and Republicans being, pro-personal freedoms, but actually, recently, I don't know if you saw, but on the Fox, many of the supporters of Fox News, like Sarah Palin, a lot of them came out and said they were they were for the legalization of marijuana.
Right.
And I thought that was a very wise decision on their part to get, many voters who were, I know a few people who were Democrat because they thought that was going to get it legalized, and not for their personal use, but that
right.
it could help stimulate the economy.
Right. Let me ask you this: Have you voted early?
I have not. I am voting on Tuesday.
All right. Well, good luck. Good luck to you and all the other conservatives, and thanks for calling in.
Wait, can I say one thing?
Sure. Yeah.
Tom, look at you again. Fuck you. Fuck Romney. Go Obama, bitch.
All right. All right. Wow. So my friend Kyle Patrick Rogers has called in here, and that caller, I don't know what he was thinking, but anyway, Kyle, I think this is you. Welcome to the program, sir. What do you think, my friend? Hello?
Hello?
Hello, who is this?
Hi, this is Chesley.
Oh, hey, Chesley, how you doing? I thought you were Kyle there for a sec.
I was just calling in and seeing what we're talking about here.
Well, kiddo, this is my last show before the election, and I have to ask you, as part of the conservative youth movement, how do you think we had an effect on the younger generation over the last couple of years?
Well, honestly, I think that the effect of the youth has been a lot greater in the last couple of years. Friday, I was just at a presidential rally for Mitt Romney, and I was completely blown away by the amount of people, not only in high school, but also a lot of really young kids, and I was very encouraged by that fact. And I think that there are a lot more youth involved than there were before, which was actually very encouraging, because usually the youth is incredibly apathetic.
Yeah, I mean, that was the one thing I mentioned earlier in my program. When I first started, I've been doing the show for 4 years now, since 2008, and I think a couple things supposedly have really changed. When I first joined, I thought I was the only young conservative teenager out there, but I didn't care if that was the case, and I went ahead and started my podcast anyway. That was also the year that Facebook came out and really started to boom, and Twitter. I think social networking has really helped, and also just finding guys like yourself have really helped. Now, you've been involved with high school conservative since it began, right?
That's correct.
Okay. I'm just curious because I'm kind of telling my story a little bit tonight. But how did you get involved in politics?
Well, I've always been very interested in politics just because my family has been. My dad is very involved, and so is my mom. We're a very active family in that sense that we always like to give our opinions. But the main thing that really helped me get into politics was when I started speech and debate, and I've been in speech and debate for 5 years, and that really gave me the critical thinking skills in order to be very inaptly involved in politics, especially from the public speaking end of it, and convincing and critiquing arguments. And then the way I got involved with the high school conservative was Tanner, who runs it, actually came to me and asked me if the way he said it was, would I like to be involved in something awesome? And I'm like, sure. So, yeah, he invited me, and I was a part of it, and I was very impressed with the work that he was doing with it.
Yeah, it's very impressive what you guys have done over there, and boy, it's just really refreshing. So, what are you hoping happens Tuesday other than Romney winning? Any specific states that you'd like to see Romney take?
I'm extremely satisfied with the current path that he's on. If you look at the integrity level of the Democratic Party and the Republican Party right now, there's just no comparison. The thing that really makes me sad is the lack of integrity on the Democrats' part. And it doesn't help them, and it doesn't give anybody a good name. And I'm really, really glad that Romney has been taking a positive course rather than bashing the other team, because he could really do some major bashing right now, and he's refrained from that. And I've been very satisfied with the integrity of Mitt Romney.
Yeah, I've been impressed with it too. Well, it'll certainly be interesting to see what happens on Tuesday night. I'll tell you this much: it's going to be a late night for me, and I'm sure it's going to be a late night for you as well.
Oh yes, for sure. We always stay up and watch Fox News.
So, yeah. Thank you for your time, and real quick, where can we find you at?
What do you mean?
In terms of, do you have a Twitter? Or, well, I know where I can.
Oh yeah.
I know where to find you, but tell my audience. So.
You can find me pretty much on the high school conservative. If you look there, or I have a Twitter account at set_apart_last, and I'm also on Facebook. So.
Alrighty, sounds good. Can't wait to talk to you after Tuesday.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. God bless.
You too.
All right, folks. 3 more minutes. I know we've got a couple of listeners out there. Chesley is one of the editors at the High School Conservative. She edits my columns over there. Really the brains of the opera. Really one of the brains of the operation over there. That's a great site to go look at. She's smart, and she's conservative, and she's beautiful all at the same time. And Chesley, we just all love you over at the High School Conservative. Like I said, a little over 3 minutes. So if you want to get that last call in, now's your chance. 714-816-4740. Quite an interesting mix of callers that we have. One of the points that I want to make is I feel that the conservative youth movement has made a big difference. Like I said, when I started my radio show, the Whitfield Nation, I thought I was alone. And now you've just seen a huge, big explosion. And we have a caller, area code 425. You're on the air. Welcome to the Whitfield Analysis.
Hello, Sam. How are you doing today?
Good. Who is this?
This is Kyle.
Oh, hey, Kyle. How are you?
I'm doing just great. Getting really excited for the elections. We just have 2 more days left.
I know.
90 seconds.
And don't worry about the timer. We have more than 90 seconds. I actually wanted to bring you on for a couple minutes because I am really excited. You, Greg, and I have really started working on a project about the Young Conservative TVs. So, would you mind talking about that for a little bit?
Yeah, so Young Conservative TV is a
60
project
seconds.
Geared toward educating students about the current political and economic situation, both through debates between liberal and conservatives, through talk shows like the one you're hosting today, Sam, ones like Gregory's as well over at Black Eye Radio.
Yep.
We also do that through commercials, ads, videos, all kinds of stuff, interviews. What we do on our site is essentially we aim to use the media to influence the conservative ideologies and the ideas brought forth by a smaller government, strong national defense. Some of those issues are what we focus on over there, and we're planning on launching this Saturday, the 11th.
Yeah, well, I can tell my audience, too.
10 seconds.
Kyle and I, and Greg, we're on the same team. I'm part of the executive board over at Young Conservative, and I'm really excited with what we're doing over there in terms of bringing the media together, along with Next Gen Conservative and Next Gen Conservative Radio, which is where Greg hosts his show. Now, I have to ask you a personal question. How did you get involved in politics?
Well, I know you're just talking to Chesley about this too, and it's kind of pretty much the same reason with me as well. I got involved in debate and I learned about some current issues last year. We talked specifically about economic policies, specifically tax policies, and I learned all about what really was going on in our country. I didn't really have the ability to grasp what was happening and what the country was currently going through, and I didn't know a lot about the current economic or the presidential situation. But once I got into debate, I learned more about, I was researching and I was looking at the news every day. I began to analyze what was actually happening, and that really began to grow my interest in politics. I realized that there really was a generation growing up that didn't know much about what was going on, and I myself was part of that generation before I joined debate. And I learned that it was important for me to teach others about what's going on and encourage them to get involved as well.
Yeah, well, I can tell you Well, I don't know if I ever told you this, but I've been doing my show. Well, not this show, but I've been a show host for the last 4.5 years. I will have been doing this for 5 years come March, and I honestly thought that I was the only conservative teen out there. I was in 8th grade when I started, and I thought I was the only conservative teen out there, but I didn't care because the message had to be spread, and I'm just really glad that I found a couple other conservative teens, you, Greg, and Chesley, and just so many others. There are more conservative teens out there every day that I'm finding, it seems like. One of the other things that I want to get your opinion on, why do you think the left has had such a big influence over the youth? I've talked about this a little bit on my show, but I just would like to bring someone else on to share their opinion.
Yeah, well, there's a couple reasons. First off, I think that the media, and first off, when President Obama, I think this was really the start of it was when President Obama ran for office. I think what they did is they went around to schools all over the country, and they told schools, you guys can be part of something new. You can be part of a difference. You can elect the first black president. Now, while it's not a bad thing to elect a black president, I completely encourage this. However, the students looked at something different rather than what the principles were behind this difference. They didn't take a look at what this change was that was going to come with President Obama. And I think this really did fuel on the I believe this fueled on students getting involved. I believe before this, I don't think the students were necessarily influenced by either party. I think actually they may have been influenced more by the conservatives than the liberals. But because of President Obama's presidency, I believe this has influenced the younger students and college students specifically a lot more.
Yeah, well, I mean, the other thing, too, I don't know if you caught the beginning of my program. I know your computer crashed there for a sec, but I had a caller, like, within the first 5 minutes of today's program that said that he supported Obama. He immediately called me a racist because I didn't support Obama, and then asked me why I didn't support. And then once I told him that I wasn't a racist, I questioned him on it, and he hung up. So I think it was a practical joke, but I'm just curious. Have you been called a racist? And what is your whole?
I have not yet faced that challenge.
Okay. Why I have a couple theories, and you're kind of co-hosting with me now, so
How much more time do we have for the show left?
We have about 10 minutes. It's actually recording now. But I guess, how do you think the conservative youth has changed things over the last couple of years? Because you're on media as well now.
So essentially you're asking how the conservatives have influenced the United States over the last few years?
Yeah, well, how have we as conservative teenagers affected?
To tell you the truth, I don't think teenagers are getting involved enough. I don't think they have made a large difference over the last years, and that's why I am getting involved.
Right, I agree, but if you look at where we were in 2008 when I first started, and where we are now, there seems to be a lot more awareness of a conservative youth movement.
Yeah,
and,
I think what's happened over the past few years through President Obama's presidency is it's given students the option, is encouraged them to figure out what side they stand for. So I believe they have more figured out what side they're with over the last 4 years, I guess.
Yeah. Anything that you would want to say to your fellow teens who are voting, who have already voted or are going to vote on Tuesday? What would be your message to them?
My my message to them would be that before you just vote for what seems different or what seems like a cool idea, you need to look into the person, look behind them, see what their principles are they're supporting, look into whether it's a senator or whatever they are running for, whatever office position, even if they're not associated with a certain party. You need to take a look at what this person stands for, what side they typically lean towards, and what ideas they support and what ideologies they're planning on putting into place if they are elected into office, rather than just voting for change.
Yeah, well, I certainly think that we've got a good thing going, and I really want to thank you for all your support, and I'm looking forward to working with you more on Young Conservative TV. So, thank you.
Yeah, it was great to join the show today.
All right, thank you.
I'll talk to you.
And folks, whoops, sorry, I hung up on Kyle there a little prematurely, but folks, the one thing that I want to stress, it's been my peers like Kyle and I, and I want to give a shout out to my partner and one of my best friends, Trevor Johnson. We've been building a conservative youth movement for the last 3.5 years. Conservative teenagers are standing up, and we're not taking this crap anymore. If that one caller at the beginning had not hung up, as he did, he hung up because he has no factual basis for his statement, and so he made a very blatant remark. The conservative youth movement has made a difference. We will continue to make a difference. Folks, the one thing I would want to say to you, regardless of what side you're on, because I have lots of friends who are liberal as well, regardless of what side you're on, look at the key issues. And look at what your values are, too. Ask yourself, what do I really believe in? Research the facts and go from there. Ask your peers and believe it or not, your parents, too, what their opinions are. Ask your older friends, too. The youth seem to be very apathetic towards politics these days. And I know that I'm a conservative, but I think it's important for both sides to get their opinions out there and make their statements. That's the beauty of this country. We are the only country where you can literally say anything you want and you're not going to get locked up for it. And so, my final message to you before the election is that this is election time. I believe that Mitt Romney is going to be the better leader for president, and that conservative values are the way to go. I've spent the last 3.5 years, the last 4 years, documenting on my various radio shows and blogs why I believe conservative values are good. Now it's your turn, and your parents' turn. It's America's turn to decide who their next leader is going to be. I've laid the conservative principles out before you, as have Rush Limbaugh and Glenn Beck and all the other conservative commentators. And folks, here's the other misconception I want to clear up. People tend to think that conservative talk show hosts have like some great mystical power that we can influence everyone. But, we're just commentators. You guys, the voters. I mean, we all as voters, we have the voice. It's not just commentators, and it's not just politicians, but we, the people, ultimately make the decision. And so it is really important that we elect a leader who will promote the values of the Constitution and whatnot. Here's the bottom line. If you want bigger government and more intrusion into your personal life, vote for Barack Obama. if you want less government intrusion and more personal freedom, vote for Mitt Romney. If you vote for Mitt Romney and you want more personal freedom, it's also going to entail more personal responsibility and more hard work. But that's what this country was built on. It was built on the blood, sweat, and tears of our founders. And so, to make this country better, I believe that sometimes you also have to work hard. And the other thing, I want to relate this to a teenage note too. You know, teenagers want freedom. And, freedom and free choice, that's awesome. And so, kind of putting this in an analogy, I kind of feel like the government and the Democratic Party who really push for regulations and all these big government programs are like the big brother or the big parent who says, we can't, we know what's better for you than you do. That's essentially what the liberal platform is, folks. And I just really urge people to decide whether big government is the choice that they want or not. Do you want to be taken care of and have no freedom, or do you want absolute freedom with more personal responsibility? It's up to you, folks. And Tuesday night is going to be a very late night for me. I'll be attending a victory party. But in the meantime, folks, I just have to thank all of you for tuning in and listening to Whitfield Analysis. It's been fun, and I'll see you next Sunday night for my election review, my post-election review, and how it went. I'll see you next Sunday, folks. Bye-bye. So long. From all of us here at Next Gen Conservative, have a great evening and a great week. Go out and vote on Tuesday. We're less than 48 hours away from making Mitt Romney president. Let's do it.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Sam,
Yeah,
come on up for dinner.
okay.